And we begin with news on the go. The City of Johannesburg says its cleanup and bylaw enforcement operation near the Johannesburg CBD and the Magistrate's Court will continue despite facing legal challenges over this initiative. The operation, which targets illegal trading and non-compliance in the inner city, has sparked debate over whether it's a necessary enforcement of municipal bylaws or whether it unfairly targets foreign nationals. The city maintains the campaign is aimed at restoring order and ensuring compliance, adding that trading permits are already being used and notices were served before enforcement actions and removals began. This is our live picture of this operation as it continues to unfold. SABC News reporter Lopang Alamu is keeping up with officials. She's also joining us live. And Lopang, take us through what we're seeing.
Ayanda, very good morning, and to our viewers as well. We're currently inside the MTN butchery, just close to the MTN taxi rank, and you'd notice that there's some Johannesburg Metro Police officials who have climbed onto this particular structure. Now we're inside, we're at the back of this building, and we understand that there are people who ran to hide as soon as they saw officials. Now what they're trying to do is get this door open so those alleged illegal immigrants who ran away as soon as they saw the officials could come out. We don't know yet just how many people are hiding behind this place. I think this is part of the fridge. It seems as though they climbed on top of this commercial freezer, and you'd notice that those officials are trying to convince them to come out, or rather to open this door, and it seems as though they are on top and not on the other side. So I'm not too certain if I'm making sense. It seems as though they climbed the structure. They're currently on top of the structure, on top of this commercial freezer. So as things stand, we are not yet certain just how many people are inside. And this is really what's been happening throughout this morning. We began at the Marble Towers, and that is where the operation was aimed at starting. It was meant to have started there. However, since we now know that the City of Johannesburg is going to court, now this is allegedly due to the fact that that operation was halted, and this is now the owners of the Marble Towers, allegedly, or reportedly rather, a Cameroonian billionaire who is the owner of that building, has interdicted the city from raiding it and destroying illegal structures within that part of the building. So we're just waiting for that judgment. It's set to take place at 10 a.m. at the High Court. It's an urgent application. It's an urgent interdict. So a judgment will be made as soon as possible. So I'm going to move out of shot again and hopefully have some kind of progress as to what is happening. You'd notice that they're saying that the people just behind there are laying on the ground. However, we do also have...
Oh, what a pity. It looks like we've lost our connection there to Lopang Alamu, reporting live from the inner city, where you can see there's plenty of movement as officials, led, we understand, by the mayor of the city, once again try to drive out those who are part of illegal operations. Lopang, if you're still able to hear us, you're still describing the form and nature of this particular operation as the city also gears up for that legal action.
Ayanda, I hope you can hear me now. So basically, we're just waiting for the relevant officials to come and remove the people who are hiding behind this freezer, or on top of it, from what we understand. They are refusing to come out. It seems as though they will now be running onto the other end, and that is where officials are currently moving to now. Let's see if they are able to finally remove them from where they are. Not too certain yet what the hygiene of this place is. If everyone who's here is allowed to be here, open cuts of meat all over the place. Ayanda, you let me know if I'm still audible, but it seems as though they are still up there. It's getting quite hectic on this side, where we have the alleged immigrants who are unfortunately on top of this structure. We have two of those who are hiding currently leaving right now. So two of those who were hiding on top of that fridge have been found. He seems to be wearing the uniform of this butchery. It seems as though he's an employee. Another one right behind us. And one can only understand, and this is what we've been seeing throughout the morning, that those without proper documentation would then run away or hide from officials. We saw a number of arrests since 6 a.m. and of those we saw a number of what the city describes as fake marriages. We had another woman who was also arrested after having produced what the city said were fraudulent documents. We'll try to listen in on what is currently happening at the moment. Let me try and get an idea as to what they're interrogating at the moment. So he's basically explaining that he was not running away as initially thought. His explanation is that he saw everyone else running and they then decided to all go hide in that part of the building.
No, the accent here tells him good. He's not a South African. The accent here tells us he's not a Ithakazelo zakakhanyile sithini? Ithakazelo zakakhanyile sithini?
So Ayanda, they're currently asking him for his documentation, and it seems as though the MMC is asking him if he could produce an identity document or somewhat of a documentation. So Ayanda, you'd hear now that they're now saying that the Human Resource Department of the butchery says that the employees are documented. However, it seems as though they will then be taken to HR to explain as to what is currently happening. So this is now also an issue of labor laws. Are labor laws currently being contravened? We'll try to speak to MMC Mabaso in just a bit and find out what the plan is. It seems as though he's been through everything throughout the day. However, what we are trying to understand and ascertain here is whether or not the MMC is going to do this for a bit. Let's see. Let's hear.
Running away, hiding on top of the fridges, inside the fridges, inside the storerooms. So when we attempted to engage with the HR and the management, they said everyone here employed here is documented. You know, and now, because we've been able to identify three of them are undocumented, and others are still hidden, you know, in the storerooms, within the fridges. So we are going to engage with the management because they've lied to us. We are here to enforce compliance. We are here to make sure that all the businesses that are operating here are operating within the parameters of the law. But if they are not giving us accurate information so that we are able to execute our duties, then we are going to have a problem. And that's why there's this commotion is because the management is lying to us. You know, they are giving us information that is not accurate. And they are saying they've employed documented people here. They've got majority of foreign nationals that are employed here. I mean, we can't allow such things when we've got, you know, a lot of South Africans that are sitting at home, unemployed with no hope for future, and yet we've got businesses in the inner city that have employed foreign nationals in their majority of the staff.
Ayanda, what the MMC is currently explaining is that they engaged the management of the taxi rank, MTN taxi rank butchery rather, and this is then when they found out that management is hiring undocumented immigrants and they do not have the proper documentation. Let's try and walk through to the other side and see if the management would be willing to speak. We highly doubt. We've tried that before, and it seemed as though they were not willing to speak to us. However, we'll try not to actually just identify these suspected illegal immigrants, just to avoid showing them. But it seems as though just 4 of those who are hired here are suspected to be illegal. We saw quite a number of employees here actually who ran towards the back as soon as the officials came in. We're trying to understand whether or not management will be spoken to at the moment. However, this has basically been an occurrence throughout the morning where city officials will get into a shop, demand to see trading papers, their permits, their licenses, as well as their documentation. And they have been met with somewhat of a fight from a number of these individuals. As things stand, 6 shops or so have been raided within the Johannesburg CBD, and we're not certain what is currently happening. It's really been confusing for a number of people as to where they were meant to go, where they were meant to start, and how effective the operation has been since this morning. I did mention earlier that the Marble Towers was where the operation was meant to take place. They were meant to demolish what they call illegal structures inside the building. But what we then came to find out is that the owner or owners of the building will be going to court to try and stop that. The Marble Tower is quite an iconic building in the heart of Johannesburg, actually. A building that was opened and started being used about 53 years ago. It was opened in 1973. It's a building that is 152 meters high, about 82 stories, 52 stories, and it was for a very long time the tallest structure in the African continent, so quite an iconic building, if one could say, but that has now turned into a place where you find small businesses. It is alleged that the building owes the municipality about 14 million rand or so, and the mayor says that has been their challenge throughout this operation that started quite a few weeks ago, where they would try and enforce bylaws in the city and are met with a number of court interdicts, some being from owners of the buildings, others are from civil rights groups. And the visuals you are seeing now are those individuals who ran to the back of the freezer, currently being taken in. Not too certain if they've been questioned. I'm going to try and listen in to get a clearer understanding. Are they validating their documents? What is currently happening? MMC, you've been doing this the entire morning. What is currently happening here? We only see a number of individuals. Why specifically these ones?
So these ones have been identified as undocumented. We are waiting for our colleagues from Home Affairs so that we are able to verify the other employees within the year. So these ones have been identified because they were running away from us. Immediately when we entered the butcher, they started running away from us, and that's why we had requested the police to check their identification, and they were found to be undocumented. And the other ones that are here, they are claiming to be documented. So we need to verify that, because even if they are documented, we need to check whether they got permits to be in the country, and also permits as well, which allow to be employed in the country, because it's not only about having a passport to be in the country, and also to be permitted to.
MMC, thank you so much. So we'll continue to follow this discussion throughout the day, and Ayanda, I think just continue monitoring the situation. But as things stand, it seems though the individuals that ran away from a waiting ban, from what I understand. They will then verify the documents of all the other employees inside this butchery. This has really been the order of the day, Ayanda. Going into shops, officials demanding to see the correct paperwork, and at times being met with somewhat of a fight from shop owners. And we've also noticed the high amount of police presence since we arrived here this morning. And it's been like that since around 6 a.m. And we're going to leave it here for now as we continue to track the story for you, Ayan.
All right, you've been listening there to the reporting of Lobangalamu, live to us from the Joburg inner city, where there's been scuffles and foilings for much of the morning. This is as the city of Johannesburg tries to really clean up house, for lack of a better term. It's a campaign that also saw a number of illegal structures being demolished, or illegally mounted structures being demolished at the notorious Small Street last week. And this is really a continuation of that. But the concern, as you can imagine, is that this campaign is being used ostensibly to target, in the main, foreign nationals who are operating in the inner city. Broader questions being asked about whether this is about the enforcement of bylaws, or in fact about, putting a target on individuals who are working there and perhaps shouldn't. It'll be interesting to kind of get your sense of how things should be done given some of those concerns.